Yay.
Yeah, we're recording. So, welcome everybody to the fifth session of Reclaiming the Goddess. I would say session, module, stage in the journey, really, which is what it is, and what an amazing journey it's been so far. I'd like to just say thank you from me for all of the comments that I've actually seen, and Bonnie's been so good at keeping up with the posts and what have you in the special Facebook page, as have a number of you guys. So thank you. I'm not perhaps as diligent in respect of the Facebook posts as what I could be. So welcome. It's good to be with you again, Bonnie, and over to you to say hi.
Yes, welcome to all of you. We're so happy you're here. Julie's mentioning the Facebook page. Rita, don't be shy wherever you are listening to just make comments. We're going to leave the Facebook page open, and I will post periodically. And as we were talking before the recording came on, we know that the energies that we are drawing forth within us are going to continue to expand. A week, we were talking to Rita about waiting a week. That's almost hardly not enough energy, although her energy, the goddess energy, has been showing up every week. But I truly believe within each of us that it's going to expand even more. So we appreciate your comments and sharing, because I know as each of us shares, it enriches, every one of us reading that energy touches us. And to be very transparent, Julie and I had talked about this. We also want to let you know that we probably will um, decide to collaborate together on a goddess site, both Julie and myself. So we'll be looking to you for whatever compelling experiences you've had, what comments or thoughts that you have, either posted on the Facebook page or emailed to us from your heart, that if it's something you feel someone else would benefit from by your comment, we would so appreciate it. So I think that that's all for the moment.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Bunny. Yeah, that's something really exciting and something that I look forward to. I think this goddess work has been percolating for me, certainly for a number of years, and for it to be coming together in such a beautiful way in collaboration with you is just really special. And it's bringing things to fruition, certainly from my side, and it's so important out there in the world at the moment. So I
Mhm.
certainly look forward to taking this another step forward with you, because there are so many goddess archetypes that we can work with, and it's a bit of a confusing world, and a confusing realm out there, because there are so many goddesses that we know, as we've seen, that we can link to. Like, for instance, today we're working with the goddess of love, and we can look across all of the different cultures, and there are so many goddesses that represent the manifestation of that archetype. So when you just look at a list of goddesses, it can be a bit confusing, because you'd find that they um, could be grouped together in ways that make it so much easier to understand, and I think that's where we would like to go with it as well, that it becomes
Mhm.
really meaningful. Okay, so let's have a look. We are on today, we are exploring, we're connecting with, we are becoming familiar with the goddess of love. And of course, the goddess of love, we're obviously going to go into in a lot more detail, represents love in so many different aspects, whether that is earth and nature, as one of the goddesses represents, or whether that's love and a relationship perspective with friends, whether it's intimate love with a close partner. There are so many facets that go along just with this particular archetype. So she's really amazing. She's also bountiful. And when we think about love, we've got the red of passion and the gold. Red and gold are two, it's almost like a crimson color, two very powerful colors that actually are associated with this particular goddess. And I just love, Bunny found this quote, it's a Rumi quote, and I know that so many of you are the same, just love Rumi. And all of Rumi's quotes essentially revolve around love in some way, shape, or form. And he talks about connecting with the beloved. Ultimately, that is the purpose of the goddess of love, to connect us with the beloved, and that beloved in a vast spiritual sense, as the very core and aspect of our being. Wherever you are and whatever you do, be in love. Be in love with yourself, be in love with the world, be in love with people, in love with your experiences. It's just such a beautiful, simple, and yet profound quote from Rumi to kick us off this evening. So here we have a little bit of an explanation or an understanding. Are you happy for me to just carry on with this, Bunny?
Yes, go ahead. Till we get to Lolita. Just go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. The goddess of love. A woman in the fullness of the lover archetype feels like this. She is sensual. She is open and invites you to touch her mind, her body, and her soul. She relishes connection with others, specifically the connecting aspect beyond ego's fulfillment needs. So it's a real depth of connection that we are talking about that is facilitated by the goddess of love. She appreciates beauty in all its forms. So we go back to the priestess archetype who creates beauty, and then we come to the goddess of love who appreciates beauty in all of its manifestations and its forms. So you can see how we move and flow from one archetype into the other. She sees and feels beauty in herself, realizing her intrinsic connection and possession of such. She is in her body, animating it with vital energy through dance or yoga or movement, or whichever way that vital source energy is animated through the physical being. She brings eros and sensuality and a joy of life to any engagement or conversation. So you can kind of perhaps start getting the sense for how broad reaching the scope of love is, where we talk about it, that the goddess of love can actually facilitate for us.
And the thing that
Okay. Yep.
And what I was thinking as we went through this and researched her and looked at her more fully, I think when we think of the goddess of love and we think of sensuality, we narrow that full expression of love into this little narrow pocket. And I like this slide because it talks about how love comes through us, how we're animated, how our body is vital. And that's a difference than just thinking about it in a sexual way or just in a sensual way. It's sensual with many more dimensions to it.
Well said, Bunny. Absolutely. Okay, so let's have a look at across the cultures how the goddess of love is represented or is manifest. Let's just see, Jan's actually typing a comment in here.
I'm still much
Bunny's
louder.
volume is much louder than Julie's. Okay. So do we need to turn Bunny's down or turn mine up? Mine actually looks as if the volume's okay.
I just turned mine down some more. How is it, Jan?
Better.
Okay.
Okay.
Let us know.
Absolutely. Thank you. So you know, if you actually ask somebody which particular mythological figure they might associate with the goddess of love, most would immediately respond with a connection to Venus or Aphrodite. They are both one and the same. One is the Greek version, one is the Roman version. And this image is one that this is Venus. And the clamshell is also a very feminine symbol that is actually used in this. It's the clamshell opening up to reveal the pearl, the jewel within. a scallop. Is it a scallop shell or a clam? I'm sure it's supposed to be a clam shell. I'm not sure. But the pearl within, and that's the degree of openness that the goddess of love asks us to actually bring into our lives. That's what goes along with the sensuality. But the jewel within and the pearl within is the core of the love, as Bunny said, that actually moves through us. It's not from us, it's through us, because it's from universal source. It's from the source of the goddess herself, the primary mother, and it flows through us. So it's not us, it is beyond us. Any practices that we can actually engage in that enable us to expand way beyond that narrow version of what love is connects us to something that's truly divine. And it is divine love that we are talking about essentially here. This is interesting. Oshin, who is West African, Yoruba, and I mean, just look at this with the curves and the bodily movement. I mean, that is just such a beautiful depiction of bodily animation and sensuality in that whole figure. You know, the womanly hips. It's very much like the pagan goddess, the pictures of the pagan goddess with that narrow waist and these beautiful hips. It is a very powerful picture. So, and I'd actually, to be honest, I'd never heard of Oshin until I actually started having a look at some of the resources and exploring. Now, let me just see if I can find the page. Funny, something's clicking there. Oh, no, I can't. Unfortunately, I think I've closed it, where there was a little comment about Oshin. But bear that in mind because it might be something that you actually want to explore. Hathor in Egypt is also powerfully associated with the goddess of love and sensuality in all of its forms. So another very powerful picture. See the crimson, the color red again in the sun disk above her head, as opposed to the golden disk that we actually see in the priestess picture. Bonnie, are you playing with a keyboard?
I'm sorry, it was starting to thunder. I closed the window.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I could just hear the noises in the background. So we have Hathor in Egypt that belongs in this particular realm of goddess influence, of love influence. And then we come to this slide. Now, Cleodna, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's also Celtic. Rachel, I don't know, do you know much about Cleodna, who is the Irish? Look at this, all of the gold in this picture. Absolutely beautiful. An Irish goddess that is also associated with this sensuality, with this abundance, if you like, that is all around her. That's one of, yeah, not heard of her. Came across her as a representation of the goddess of love. Let me just see if I've actually got some information on her as it's handy. We've kind of given this so that you can. Nope. Do you know, I had a page up and I've actually closed it. Silly, silly me. What I've
Interestingly,
got, yeah.
I was just going to read Rita's comment. Interestingly enough, three of us resonate with Venus and three resonate with Hathor. Oh, I love that.
Oh, interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Very interesting. That's what we find is that we each resonate with specific facets of each of the goddesses or different mythological manifestations. This is one thing that I actually just wanted to share with you about Aphrodite. So if I can take that slide back for a moment. Let's just go back here. Aphrodite. Let me share this with you because I've got this information up. Courtesans have always been the embodiment of Aphrodite, iconic examples of courtesans who have changed the course of history are Christine Keeler's affair with the British Defence Minister John Profumo, which nearly brought down the British government in the 1960s. And the careers of many politicians, including Wilbur Mills, Wayne Hayes, Gary Hart, were ended by their interest with Aphrodisian women. If you want to watch the most perfect embodiment of an Aphrodite courtesan, watch Catherine McCormack's portrayal of Veronica Franco, the Venetian courtesan in the movie Dangerous Beauty. There's a wonderful archetypal movie to watch, which will help to put it into perspective. In the myth of Aphrodite, she renews her virginity every spring in a sacred bath in her hometown of Paphos in Cyprus. Every time she comes together with a man, she wholeheartedly gives herself as if for the first time. Each new encounter is fresh and innocent as though she had never fallen in love before. Her powers lie in her renewing herself. What an interesting example for us, which metaphorically can inspire us to shed the baggage that we carry. But we modern day women don't let ourselves have the same freedom, which tends to shut Aphrodite out. And when our relationships don't work for us, we start to build all sorts of assumptions and beliefs, and we exile the goddess. We declare love doesn't work, love doesn't exist, love just isn't for me. When we do this, we make the ultimate mistake. We judge ourselves as unlovable and undesirable. When that happens, you can bet there is no way that you will ever encounter the magic of Aphrodite. Her cue is, I am lovable no matter what. And that's that aspect of divine love that comes through us. When we are connected to that, we are in the knowing that we are lovable. When you believe you are lovable, you do the things that support, enrich, and nourish your lovability. So, yeah, she speaks to us in the challenging sense of a lot of the judgments that we hold about ourselves. So I think that's a beautiful way of expressing, and that is the essence of what the Goddess of Love is actually all about. So let's go back here. There's Rati and Lalita, who are two Hindu goddesses, both associated with this essence. Rachel said, "Oh, well done, Rachel. Thank you." Kleena, Kleena. Oh, that's how you pronounce her name, Kleena.
Nice.
Irish goddess, beautiful. So one of the Celtic goddesses. Now I know Bonnie wants to share with us some information about the Hindu aspect of the goddess of love.
Well, specifically Lalita, which I found her very interesting. She's called the Red Goddess, and we can look at her and see the red. We can see that on Rati too. Rati also has, she has very similar characteristics. Hers are more of pleasure, but Lalita is the goddess of sexual and spiritual love in the Hindu tradition. She is the goddess who rules over rulers. She's the power of light of Kundalini realized, and we see how she's sitting is in that yogic tradition. The creation of all things passionate and desirable. She is the source of tantric, and the divine feminine realized, the faithful, loyal wife, and the untamable wild woman. And what I like about her, the source of tantric, if we think about tantric, it's the sacred intimacy, which you can do with yourself or with a partner. Many practitioners relate to her as a combination of the attributes of two of the other Indian goddesses, Parvati and Kali Ma. As a goddess of love, Lalita is the expression of bliss and the act of love itself in all its forms, physical, spiritual, and emotional. Connecting with her is to move beyond the ordinary life. And I think as we've been talking, you can feel that flow of love that connects you beyond almost the mundane, but brings just that lifting energy, that place where you feel love in your heart, so everything looks different, tastes different, smells different, and even how we move is different. We see through the veil of illusion to the true erotic ecstasy that creates the universe. I know minds are somewhat limited, but I think in the moment, as we connect with this love that is universal love that comes from creation, from what creates the cosmos, that there's a sense of letting go, of limitlessness, of being one with all that is, which brings bliss. Lalita is the goddess of 1,000 names, and the Sri Yantra is her symbol. And I know some of you are probably familiar with yoga, and the Sri Yantra is an image that has many triangles in it. And the beginning triangle is a diamond. And then all the rest of the triangles form the Sri Yantra. And so it's encouraged, and we put it in your resource manual, that it could be one of the ways to connect with the goddess of love by looking at that yantra. And we do have some other activities for you, so choose what resonates with you.
Fantastic. Yeah. And the resource manual will be ready for you tomorrow with all of those additions in it too. So let's have a look at the combination polarities that are associated with the goddess of love and how she may be showing up in different ways in your life, and how she looks when she's really strongly in her power. So we do see initially the first line there, we see that appreciation. It's not just an appreciation of beauty. There is an inherent beauty that goes along with a woman who is so confident and so sensual and so animated within her being. So she is beauty. It's a woman who is beauty, who recognizes her own beauty, not just external beauty. So there is that inherent projection of what is within her. It is also about desire, and we're not talking here necessarily just about the physical desire that we often express, as Bunny mentioned earlier, in respect of the narrow form of some of our intimate relationships. This is a desire to engage with life in its broadest, most magnificent sense and in all ways. So again, it's a very profound understanding of the meaning of that word. And bliss. We tend to think of bliss as being blissed out, not here, not physical. Whereas this understanding of bliss is something that is really an embodiment. Again, it goes beyond joy. It is again something that we hold within us through that connectivity to source love and be in a permanent state of bliss. It doesn't mean non-functional. In fact, it means fully functional. It's just fully functional within the realm, if you like, of that divine connectivity. So it's a very different way to which it is normally perhaps used or associated. On the other side of this, you can actually see where the goddess of love has perhaps become distorted in society. And a lot of that has been because of the degradation of women, the way that the media has actually portrayed women, all of the symbolism that is used in order to degrade the feminine aspect. And we see lustfulness and neediness are the two opposing, challenging aspects. So if we look at certainly within the masculine form, because of course the goddess is not just particular to women, it's something, an aspect of divine femininity that both masculine and feminine can actually embody. And because of the way that the female or the feminine essence has been distorted within the media, it actually lends itself to that lustfulness, where there is a complete disregard for the spiritual nature and the magnificence of what this love really is and what the goddess really brings us. She is unapologetically sensual, a woman who is so embodied and confident within her own space and beingness is unapologetically sensual, not for the purpose of drawing others towards her, simply because there is a natural movement and flow of life through her. And she doesn't apologize for it. If some people want to misinterpret that, that is kind of their problem. She knows her boundaries and she is unapologetic about who she is. She is also captivating, and we talk about captivating from the perspective of being inspirational. Because if you look at somebody who is so unapologetically sensual, it is captivating. It's like, how does she do it? How does she manage to just express that without actually using any words? Just through the natural movement of her being. So exceptionally captivating, which is inspirational to those who are looking for this energy, for this flow of energy through them. On the challenging side aspect, we find individuals, women who may be uncomfortable with their body. So there's a certain amount of inflexibility, a lack of flow, a rigidity, lots of judgments around the body. Somebody who is not comfortable with her body. And on the other side of it as well, which is captivating, is really inspirational. If we look at that on the challenging aspect, or from that side, it's somebody who is distinctly flirtatious with the goal of actually drawing people into her sphere. And that is manipulative. So it's manipulative flirtation, because there is an expectation at the end of it. There is a purpose. It's very interesting. One can see how, sort of what we might term the archetype of the prostitute is an aspect of the goddess of love. So the prostitute always does something as well with the expectation of a reward, or of being able to use that sexual prowess in such a way that she is rewarded for it. So yeah, we're talking way beyond that. But you can see how the media has actually distorted, and how some people do utilize this energy for the purpose of manipulation. So we also see family unity, fertility, and deep relationships. Many of the goddesses actually do represent fertility, unity within the family group. And we're really talking about being able to facilitate that unity between the feminine and masculine, energetically, spiritually, physically. And fertility, in the sense, is not just fertility in respect of bringing forth new life. That is obviously an aspect of family unity, and her abilities, but it's fertility in respect of new ideas, being able to continue generating our own lives, new life, sort of re-energizing our lives. And deep relationships in all ways. Those are friendships, intimate relationships, whatever they may be. When we see that energy misused, or somebody who is disconnected from this energy, we find difficulty in romantic relationships. And a lot of that comes about because there is no depth of relationship with self, or there is a disconnect from that flow of love through us, into us and through us. So you find difficulty in romantic relationships. A sense of separation as well between masculine, feminine, families, independence, and also sexual addictions. So when that energy is used, it's a very, very powerful energy. If it is not used appropriately in respect of this bringing forth new life, that's where you get the sexual addictions actually kicking in. It is very, very profoundly, her energy is very profoundly linked with self-love and self-worth and self-valuing, which is where there is this deep ability to be able to establish very healthy boundaries. Where that is not present, where you have the disconnect, you find self-destruction, both in males and females, and that can be in many different ways. Lack of love leads to very often self-destruction behavior, self-destructive behaviors. And also, falling into abusive relationships. And I say falling into because I think nobody consciously wants to perhaps engage in an abusive relationship, but it's an indication that the goddess of love and that this energy is actually missing in our lives. So, leading on from that, you often find in codependent relationships that there is an aspect of abuse, and that abuse can be physical, spiritual, sexual, emotional, in all ways. Codependency and self abandonment. This is the abandonment of self, and that comes about as a consequence of the separation. So, you can see the flow of some of these aspects that may manifest. On the positive side, what we see is devotion, cherishing, and compassion. And this can be devotion to oneself, devotion to one's partner. And we're not talking here about neglecting self, because that is very often something that we see, where we speak about somebody being devoted to something. It's often held up as a virtue, but that devotion often leads to self-abandonment. Then it actually manifests in this negative or challenging way. But true devotion is a devotion to the beloved that we are a manifestation of, a devotion to the divine, and living out that devotion so that it makes manifest in all of our external relationships. And that's not an easy aspect, I think, to manage appropriately, especially in today's society, where that is not necessarily valued. If you think of how women have been held up in respect of icons, power icons within the business world, and Superwoman is expected to do all of these things, that devotion and cherishing those qualities that are so much an aspect of what the goddess of love brings are not valued as much in society, unless it's done so or valued in a manipulative codependent relationship. But she also brings a great deal of compassion to the equation. Boundless eros. And this is really something, because it calls to mind, as Bonnie mentioned, the Kundalini aspect, especially with Lalita, the Hindu goddess, and Kundalini was actually mentioned there, because there is to connect with the strength and the power of that essence or energy, is to be truly, truly, deeply in love with yourself, with who you are, and with the world, with that manifestation through life. I was actually saying to Bunny when we were putting this together, now here we've got Kundalini written down. There is a strong association between the goddess of love and the movements of Kundalini. I went through some very, very profound and deep Kundalini experiences, spontaneous rising. I didn't know at the time that that's what it was. But I soon discovered it was just the most amazing, amazing process, and it was happening over a period of a couple of years. But this boundless eros was quite fascinating. And I found myself one night lying in bed, and I was on my own, and I had this voice that arose from within me. It wasn't anything outside, but it was coming from within me. That's the only way that I could describe it. And now I understand, looking back, that Kundalini was at that stage very active. But this voice kept repeating to me over and over and over. And I would hear it as I was lying there. I love you. I love you, with such depth. It was like having the closest of intimate relationships, and somebody actually saying that to you, but it was a voice that was arising from within. And that is when we touch the goddess of love, we feel that way about ourselves. It was like me, my higher aspect, my higher self, the divine goddess, whispering into my ear every night when I went to sleep. It was just the most beautiful and most divine, truly divine experience. And I think that's what we can bring to physical relationships when we are truly meshed and embodying the goddess of love. So yeah, very seductive. As we mentioned earlier, with this captivating, we need to be careful about how we read, how we interpret that word. This is not seduction from the manipulative perspective, from how we might normally understand it. It is a seduction to the excitement. It is a provocative energy that challenges us to engage with life in very profound and with ourselves in very deep ways. So it's an exciting energy. It is charismatic. It is passion for life, okay, that she actually brings to us. And on the challenging side, it's an alluring energy that draws you in. It's like a web that's actually created. You know, we think about the spider and the web. She is portrayed and can be the seductress, as we've just read or heard in the Aphrodite, modern Afro-Asian women, the seductresses. It's manipulative energy that draws you in, that seduces you. It is the siren, and it's about payoffs. So we need to look at where we may be, for instance, perhaps prostituting ourselves in our own life, where our heart, where that inner voice, that inner goddess wants to move us in a certain direction, but we accept less than, or we judge our lives because there's a payoff of some kind. And we all do it in some way, shape, or form. So this is not just about sexual manipulation. This is about where we prostitute ourselves um, and reduce our connectivity because there's a payoff. It's like working 9 to 5, doing something that we absolutely hate because we get a paycheck at the end of the month. You know, that's just a very simple example. So we may want to examine some of the other ways that we may do that too, or find ourselves falling into that. So, Goddess of Love brings us and is trust, companionship, friendship, and good counsel, wise words, wisdom. You know, and if we think about Kundalini as well, when we actually have that expanded connectivity, that experience of expanded connectivity, there really is then it's our intuitive connection to the good counsel, if you like, that actually comes from within, from a sacred and divine space. She is Shakti, she is sacredness, and she is about divine union both within ourselves and with the individuals who are actually in our lives. Challenging, we find mistrust of others, and then we find overcompensation. Again, because we have judgments about ourselves, about our own worth, where we struggle to really and truly value ourselves and who we are. We may overcompensate in relationships and friendships and what have you because of the judgments that we place upon ourselves. And it can also lead to loose or ill-defined boundaries in respect of those relationships. Um, so Kundalini, Shakti, sacredness, divine union, when we connect with this power, it is a very, very powerful energy in the same way that the priestess, we connected with the incredible power of the priestess. There is an amazing power that goes along with connecting and working with the Kundalini and the Shakti energy. And the true essence of the goddess of love. If we are not able to embody that and to be able to channel that energy and express it appropriately, it can lead to reckless behavior, recklessness, reckless decisions, because again, we kind of scatter that energy. Destructive behaviors, unhealthy behaviors in so many different ways, mental and emotional instability, and a continued ultimate devaluing of self as a consequence of this. So we need to be very aware of when this goddess archetype and this energy begins to make herself known more deeply in our lives so that we can not only welcome her in, but begin to work with her more appropriately. You know, I actually found in the beginning, because it was at the very start of my spiritual journey, that this spontaneous Kundalini happened. And as I say, it continued for a number of years while it integrated and then um, sort of went through more intense cycles. But because I had very little spiritual awareness at the time, I'd just come out of a corporate environment. I actually found that energy very, very difficult to deal with. And I did manifest in my life what can only be described as some reckless and destructive behaviors until I actually established a broader base of understanding for what was happening. And this was one of the reasons why I became so passionate about educating people in respect of the power of the Kundalini energy itself, and bringing a correct understanding to it, if you like, because so many think that it's just you know, you sort of breathe and you raise the Kundalini, and hey ho, everything's absolutely blinking wonderful. But because that is such an incredible power, um, I felt that it was truly important and very important in these times where the cosmic energy that we are being influenced by is actually strengthening. It is becoming more profound. We know that the energetic environment that we're living in is intensifying. We have these brilliant opportunities to connect with the love, the true universal divine love that that energy actually brings to us. But if we are not prepared, if we haven't done our inner work, if we haven't sort of engaged with, perhaps with some of the practices and exercises that support and enable our body to integrate it, we will literally short circuit parts of our nervous system. That's how powerful this energy is. And the goddess of love is at her core. So none of these goddess archetypes that we've explored is fluffy in any way. And I think I mentioned that at the beginning. And that's really what we found, you know, sort of with Bunny and I as we've gone through this. There is a real depth to this work, very, very profound understandings, and deep integration that is actually happening within us, and really, really important in order to uplift that feminine presence in the world. So, Bunny, I don't know if there's anything else that you would like to add.
Well, you did a beautiful job, Julie. There are just a couple of things that I was thinking about as you were talking, and just very much underscoring what you're talking about with the self-love and self-worth. Coming out of a counseling background and watching codependent relationships, experiencing, you know, in my own life some of those, but looking too at abusive relationships and the lack of understanding many times why a woman, and a man also, but my experience has been more with women, why they go back. And if you look at the positive side and that idea of the self-love, the self-worth, the devotion, the cherishing, there's a deeper understanding of why women who don't have that stay in the relationship, because they really think that it's their fault. They are not able to connect back to their sense of self. It either has been covered, damaged by childhood experiences, or they have brought something in that they're working out. I think so important for us to examine, and whatever continuum, because we know there's the severe to, even in some of our relationships where people speak to us in a certain way that's not as respectful, or our opinions aren't valued, to really look back within. Why are we attracting those people? What is it we want to look at ourselves, and how can we love ourselves more with those imperfections? Because truly we are perfect. We are perfect within ourselves because we are a reflection of the divine. And it's easy, I think, for us to talk about it cognitively and understand that from a cognitive point of view. But what I like about what we're doing today and through our journey is that we're really deepening to what the sacred feminine truly is. And Julie, I think you spoke about it very well with this slide. And I want to tell you, in yoga, they did not talk about Kundalini rising lightly. The schools that I went to all talked about being very careful and being with other people and understanding the power of the Kundalini rising. And I remember reading very early on that it could truly make you mad, with quotation marks. So your words are very well put, and good recommendations around that.
Oh, thank you, Bunny. And it's wonderful to hear that there are schools that teach that with wisdom, because there are others who perhaps deal with it very lightly, or
Mm,
without the depth of understanding of just what happens physically within the body, for instance, when that energy sparks and begins to rise within us. And what I feel is so important is that it can happen spontaneously. We can
mm-hmm.
do all of the preparation we want in the world, but when it is time, it is time. And it can be, as happened with me, I did not know. I had absolutely no clue what had happened to me. I was just doing um, a lot of meditation in the beginning. It was part of the beginning of my journey. Um, see, Jan has actually said here, I read that Kundalini is liquid fire and liquid light. It
Mm-hmm.
literally is. It literally is. I mean, I've got a whole program on Kundalini, because the experiences that I had were phenomenal. It was a learning experience, as I went through, and I was trusting in the process. But it truly, truly is divine love that is active, and an incredibly powerful energy. Katie says she agrees. She's also been cautioned about the power. Yeah,
Well, we
I'm
don't
so
want to.
pleased that that's out there.
We don't want it. It's not something to be concerned about. I think
No,
that depending on the evolution and where you are, and there's more and more information about it. And as Julie just said, she has a class, so information is getting out there. I happen to go to a Kundalini ashram, so that may be why, because it was Kundalini yoga, not just, lots of yogas.
yeah. And that I think is important, and I think it just depends on how it's taught and whether people are
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough to have that. And Rachel says it needs to be respected. It's the same with all of
Yes.
the energies that we work with
Yes.
here, all of the aspects of the goddess, and the divine feminine. They are all to be respected. Again, it's fluffy. It's something that is really deep. It reconfigures our being, our physical being, and our energy beings. So it's an awareness that's more important, I think, in respect of these energies that actually begin stirring and awakening within us. But to me, it's an indication of the power that is available to us if we choose to respect it, to work with it, to honor it, and to integrate it, to manifest in the world. I mean, I just sort of think that how how many stable individuals in respect of embodying this power would it really take to truly bring change to the world, to truly infuse the collect fields, to trigger within the collective an awakening and a new awareness. And I have a feeling that it'd be very few if that was fully embodied. So, yeah, it's a fantastic journey that we're on. So, any questions at all from you guys on the slide?
And while we're waiting for that, the thing that, Rachel, you triggered, looking at your response, it needs to be respected. I'm going back, Julie, to what you said, the beginning slides, is I think the feminine has not been respected, and we start with a physical vessel that the media has set us up in the way they hold women in their bodies, that it isn't with respect, which is why many women don't feel comfortable with their bodies. So each aspect of this goddess, and all the goddesses that we've been talking about, a real respect for each goddess in balance, because we've talked a lot about, Rita, in the past, about that this is in balance. There's a positive and an uplifting side, and then there's a side that takes us down. So in balance, it works for us, and that's what we're asking to draw up within us at this moment.
Absolutely. Well said, Bunny. Very important. Thank you. As Rachel and Jan have said in the chat room here, which is lovely,
Yes.
women have been set against each other too. Yes, very important. Mothers need to teach daughters to respect their bodies. My mother didn't help me, and I don't know that I helped my daughter. Do you know what, Jan? But it's also not to judge that, because that was, in fact, what you've just said has just triggered something else that I was thinking of, is that the work that we are doing and the healing that we are doing through this and through this goddess journey impacts generations. It's
Yes.
because this has been happening for millennia. So many generations where it's become so entrenched that it's a part of our biological makeup, and the media reinforces what is actually genetically encoded within our bodies. So it's such powerful, deep work that we are doing that impacts many dimensions and many generations of our being. So we're healing back through timelines as we do this. So yeah, it's sort of the expansiveness of it is just truly amazing and breathtaking when we really understand it. Rita says, interesting where we see ourselves and others on this list. It's not just one side or the other. Absolutely.
True.
Yes, it's so true. Absolutely. You know, unless we are fully embodied, if you like, with this goddess of love and expressing all the positive ones, which would take an enormous amount of work to get to that stage, and reconfiguration of our DNA. So we're always going to have bits and pieces of both. It's raising our awareness so that we can work with it appropriately. Rachel says, yeah, zigzag. Good one, hey. I'm seeing good, hey. Zigzagging across the list. I'm seeing a confidence in my daughter that I never had at her age. I know I have cleared patterns in other webinars with the diamond. Oh, Rachel, that's beautiful. It's beautiful to be able to observe and to see that happening, to witness the shifts and the changes and the benefits that you're having on subsequent generations. Well done. So, yeah. Okay, so I'll just mention this. This is historic and modern females embodying the goddess of love. Obviously, when we look at the movie Hollywood stars, we see quite a few of them. So we recognize this archetype. And I'm not talking about full embodiment. I'm talking really about how they have been portrayed on the screen. So you will see some positive aspects and some negative aspects. So you've got Marilyn Monroe, Rita Hayworth, Bridget Bardot, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Angelina. And as each of the names are mentioned, you can kind of see some of those qualities from the list coming into play. And Julia Roberts. And then Mary Magdalene came up in association with one of our previous goddess archetypes. And this is only natural as well because she walked with the master, as we know, a spiritual master. So it is not surprising that we would see somebody like Mary Magdalene actually appearing as an individual that embodied this energy. And in fact, she truly understood the sacred union that is often now spoken about in connection with her and Yeshua, her relationship with the Christ, with Yeshua. Bonnie, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add there.
No, I think you really said it, that was, and there's actually a book by, now I can't remember his name, I told you what it was, Julie, that talked about the sacred relationship and some of the tantric exercises and how Mary Magdalene actually supported the Christ in aligning the chakras. And so we know in that kind of intimate relationship, there's a sacredness, and they are the couple that we look to that balances that sacred feminine and masculine in the most intimate of ways, in the most beautiful way, and takes the sacred piece of that into the intimate relationship. And again, I think for women, many times that's forgotten when we talk about lust and love, the truly uplifting of the spirit feeling the physical pleasures, but also connecting in a very spiritual way to that which created us. And they are the couple for that. And I do believe that there is a lot of information about that. And as Julie was saying, I'm really praying that that energy comes to women as we activate this sacred feminine, because it's something beautiful. And as the TV commercials and everything that we've been talking about has repressed and taken away from the beauty, Mary Magdalene, I think to both of us, to Julie and I, certainly represents that beauty again in the most sacred of ways.
Yeah. And that's as funny as you and I were saying as well when we've had our discussions. It is interesting to actually look at how information about the Magdalene and channeled messages through Mary Magdalene and books that have now been written has been resurfacing and has become very prominent in the past probably 15, 20 years. I know that there was obviously material that was published prior to that, but there have been a lot of people that I've been coming across mentioned the Magdalene, that have been exploring the Magdalene line, and sacred mystery schools of the Magdalene coming to fore. So it's really quite fascinating how this energy through the Magdalene has become so much more broadly opened up, if you like, to the feminine community, the female community. So it's kind of, she's a vehicle, and those that channel or bring forward the messages from her are vehicles in order to assist the embodiment within women of this goddess of love, with this ultimate love energy. So yeah,
And I
some
want
very powerful thoughts there.
I want to add one more thing about that in The Power of the Magdalene, a book that I'm reading right now. It's very interesting, and it is channeled information, but resonates with me with some other things that I've read. They depict Mary Magdalene as, to me, exactly what we're talking about with this goddess of love. She's powerful, she's alluring, but she's soft, but yet she's very confident. And I think that's a really important piece for us, very different from Mother Mary, who is associated with the Great Mother, who had a much firmer, direct way of communicating when she was in the body. And Mary Magdalene was a much more passionate, when she would get into arguments with, I think it was John, she was so passionate she didn't back down. But that fire in her, the attraction, when you read, the people who gathered around her were just mesmerized by her. And that's the goddess of love embodied.
Yeah, powerful. Thanks for that, Bunny. Yeah. Sophia Loren, yes, absolutely, Jan. There's another one. I mean, I know we can add to that list recognizable. That's the way that the goddess of love has almost been manipulated into a stereotype through the Hollywood movie scene, which is really very interesting, because you can see that there is pretty much a commonality that runs through this list of actresses and women. So very much stereotyped. But if you look at the archetypal movies, we picked out a couple of them that would really express this. You've got Pretty Woman. You know, there she is, Julia Roberts as the prostitute. Erin Brockovich. Now, we felt that this was really interesting, because there is somebody who is uncompromising. She is incredibly feminine in her being and in her embodiment, and yet she is passionate about bringing enlightenment, safety, security through the actions that she takes in this movie, and is uncompromising in respect of giving up the not giving up on the research, not giving up on what needs to be done. Feminine brilliance, absolutely. Erin
Mm-hmm.
Brockovich, and very passionate, not backing down, and finding very clever ways to deal with the obstacles that were placed in her path. And that, to me, you know, sort of is very archetypal of this particular energy. Runaway Bride is another one. And then Traffic is the dark side of this particular archetype. That is a movie that actually deals with sexual trafficking. And sexual trafficking is a complete manipulation of this energy and a continuation of that lustfulness and perversity that arises out of the misuse of this particular loving energy. So very, very interesting. Two sides, or a couple of different aspects within these movies, and you will probably think of some more too, I'm sure, or come across them as you find this archetype starting to appear more strongly and communicate in your life. So this slide, I just love this picture. I mean, it's not a goddess, but it's a scene that you really do look at it and go, that is just, it's beautiful. That generates and brings forward the appreciation of that beauty. The photograph, you know, the rainbow, and it was the reds and the golds, the colors that are actually typical of this, along with the water, the feminine flow, and it's just such beauty in that image that, yeah, I just absolutely loved it. Yes.
Mother
Mother
Earth.
Earth.
Well, and I think, Julie, the goddess is there. She's just showing herself
Yeah.
in nature. She's just not that curvy feminine figure.
Yeah, true.
So, love is a universal experience, the one true energy that connects all of humanity. It's the force that moves us to truly live, to indulge in luscious adventures and create beloved connections, no matter our race, age, or circumstances. And Julie and I both love that statement. There's so much in those words that speaks so clearly to us of the experience of embodying and feeling that energy of the goddess.
Yeah, beautiful.
And this is another quote we both loved. Julie, were you going to say something?
No, go for it.
The goddess of love, from close-hearted to unconditionally loving. And if you think about the two sides of that positive and negative panel we just looked at, the positive side was unconditionally loving, but you can see on the side with the uncomfortable with the body, the abusive relationships, that we cannot be in a healthy relationship if our heart is closed. We can't be in a healthy relationship with ourselves if our heart is closed. The goddess of love allows us to be vulnerable, wise but vulnerable, discerning, because we're trusting our inner knowing. Love invites us into the greater intimacy with those around us. While we may desire deep love in our lives, most of us put up barriers against potential hurt. We're afraid to be vulnerable because we're afraid to be hurt. This can shut out the very depth of the love we crave. The goddess of love pours forth her ecstatic elixir, melting us open into the realm of her sensual delights. Because the feminine,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Because we've been so repressed, I believe there's a cellular fear of opening our hearts fully, which is what the goddess of love is asking us, of being vulnerable, knowing that love will heal whatever comes our way or whatever memories have been programmed, trusting that the goddess of love will come through and pour that elixir through us. Were you going to say anything else, Miss Julie?
No, I think you've actually covered it all with the additional comments. I was just going to say that there's tremendous strength in vulnerability. It requires almost our willingness to be vulnerable in order to allow those barriers down that we've put up around our hearts. And we all have some, you know, that sort of exist or that we've put up at some stage. So, yeah, incredible strength and vulnerability, but such incredible rewards.
This goddess is one of my favorite goddesses, Anthea. I love lightness. We've been talking a lot about some of the deeper, more painful places where the feminine has been repressed, and the real lightness and joy. And this particular goddess is just, to me, lovely, her energy. She's sensual, she's joy, she brings beauty to all you touch. And we're not just talking about our physical senses, but just your radiant light touching others, and appreciation of all forms and the beauty of your outside world. Just being able to look with new eyes with everything. As we perceive love for ourselves in a different way, what we see outside becomes more colorful, becomes more beautiful. An expanding of your senses and an increase in your personal power this goddess brings to you. You are overflowing self-love that radiates out into the world, a feeling of safety. And that goes back to that vulnerability, feeling safe enough with our hearts open to be vulnerable and to know that we move through being totally supported, to that soft, central, sensual part of ourselves with confidence and with trust, and that soft place that allows us to be more sensual. When our hearts are closed, there even is a hardness about us. There's a constriction, but you can look in the faces of both men and women, but even women, you can almost see a hardening from women who have had a really tough life. That comes from the inside out, from the heart, which isn't able to be open. This goddess brings fertility, and we discussed that that's not only with children, but in fertility and new birth of whatever's coming for us next, especially in the time we live in, and this year right now, of knowing there's so many new beginnings. What do you want to birth with grace and ease? And we know birth can be messy, but we also know there's a side that can be very graceful and beautiful as whatever is being birthed comes out, and we hold that in our arms. This goddess also blesses loving friendships, intimate relationships, honor, trust, and community. And again, that community where we're serving that love we have within. We serve our community without that feeling of having to overdo or overcompensate. It simply flows out of us and is as an extension of who we are. This love, universal love, which we've talked about, that binds us all together in a way that respects and honors all. All of our senses are brought online to increase our personal power and attraction. And there we have that alluring goddess that people are looking at saying, how does she does it? How does she do it? With that grace and that ease and that beautiful radiance that's seductive in its passion, and wanting to have that for ourselves.
Oh, well said, Bunny. Beautiful. Um, okay, so I just love the colors on this one because again we've got those vibrant
Mm-hmm.
purples and oranges and the passion. You can sense the energy. This almost looks like an exploding star, you know, sort of giving birth to light, basically. You know, light radiating out from the void, from the nothing. And I don't know if you're going to use this
Yes, yes, I am.
in the process that we're going to be led into now. So don't worry so much about reading those words. They're going to be in as part of the process, but you will see. You just love the image. I'll leave that up there.
Okay.
So, does anybody have any? Yeah.
Will you actually move the slide? Let's not have them read it now.
Okay.
Thank
Here
you.
we go. Um. Okay. So, any questions or comments? I see time-wise, my word, we're already sort of 20 after the hour. I can't believe that
Yes, and
we've
we have a
actually.
journey.
Oh my. Okay. So, if you're all ready, you good? The rest of you good? No
Good.
questions now. Is the sound okay?
Yes, are we both okay?
I'm going to switch mine off as soon as I've taken you through the alignment process,
Okay,
though.
great. All right.
I can still hear some background stuff going on your side, Bonnie. I don't know if it's movement or what it is.
Can you hear it
Okay,
now?
Jan's just said she adjusts the volume. Um, Every now and again, there's just a hiss and a crackle and sort of like something being touched. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if the others can hear it, but I can certainly hear it. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to ask you now to just make sure that you're comfortable and to gently close your eyes. Just let your eyelids rest, your top one on top of your lower one, gently closed. Begin by focusing on your breathing. You allow yourself to rest into this space in preparation for your connection and encounter with the Goddess of Love. Just with your breathing, as you focus on your breathing, breathe in love. Breathe it into your heart. Breathe out all that is not love in any form whatsoever. Breathe out judgment. Breathe out self-deprecation. Breathe in love. Breathe out all of those aspects that may have been influencing your ability to connect fully with the Goddess of Love. Just follow your breath. Be aware of your heart expanding as you now create your diamond around you, extending out equally in all directions. Two pyramids joined base to base, aligned with the central point at the very base of your spine. One pyramid extending up to connect the soul star above your head, the other connecting down with the earth star below your feet, and then out in all directions, poised and balanced. And you expand your breathing to breathe in through your diamond, so that your diamond begins to breathe with you. And one of the amazing qualities of this diamond alignment is that the essence of what you breathe in is funneled and fueled into your heart, enabling and facilitating change, facilitating greater awareness, enabling you to feel and to be fully present through the realms of your heart. So just allow your diamond to breathe all of those wonderful qualities into your space, into your heart. This is your connectivity to the grid, the ultimate grid of creation itself. And that is what you breathe in as you center and align within your diamond.
As you go deeper inside, there are spirals of light and deep gold infused with red, filling everything, making it golden red, carrying you deeper within, crimson now, deeper into the womb, with a vibrant, pulsating love that enlivens your spirit as you descend deep within. You hear the faint sounds of beautiful music calling to you. As you go deeper, you begin to see the beginnings of the Goddess Temple. It's beckoning to you. As the music becomes a bit louder, you approach the temple and you're aware of the pungent fragrance of flowers. You breathe in the sweet fragrance, feeling fully alive as you move to the doorway of the temple. As you enter your familiar temple, your eyes enjoy the visual feast of the beauty within. There are beautiful flowers of all colors, shapes, and sizes. And the inside of the temple, which has become familiar and safe to you, you look and you see the sacred objects that you've placed there. The soft candlelight, the waterfall. As you move deeper inside, you hear a soft voice saying, "Welcome, beloved. We have been waiting for you. We have prepared a special ceremony to honor you." You see they've placed a beautiful, soft chair, a reclining chair fit for a queen. It's in your favorite colors. You notice there's a beautiful, soft robe made of gold and red there for you to don. As you sit down and become comfortable, you find yourself looking into the eyes of each of the goddesses of love. They penetrate your being. You feel the different aspects of their love for you and what they radiate as you sink deeper into the reclining sofa chair. You feel a stirring within yourself of love for yourself, a different kind of love. You hear the voices of the love goddesses saying, "Your body is a divine temple, the home of your exquisite spirit." You feel their communication that each goddess will then place their hands on your head. You hear that they will alchemize and release trapped patterns, transmute or transform past lives and genetic coding into the true healing power of love, letting only love remain. The first goddess walks over and places her hand on your head. You feel the power, yet compassion, as she asks you to let go of any feelings of being uncomfortable in your body. You start to feel tingles and a sense of just being light. Let go of any uncomfortable feelings of being in your body, any uncomfortable feelings about your body. She continues and asks you to surrender feelings, conscious or unconscious, cellular memory of being less than, unattractive because of your body size, shape, age, or physical imperfections. As you hear the words, you're aware of a brilliant light, the golden spirals imbued with red as they move through your body, deeply penetrating into the cells of your body, cleansing the cellular memory, transmuting and opening to the divine coding within you. As the light diminishes, you hear another goddess's voice as she places her hands softly on your head and calls on the golden red crimson spirals to move through and cleanse the patterns of romanticizing love, creating addictive romantic relationships, belittling yourself, letting go of even the smallest of self-destruct behavior, codependent relationships, abusive relationships, religious dogma, social norms, and projections. Many images flash as the spirals move and become brighter and more intense in the light, the color forming an octahedral lattice of strength and light. As the spirals continue to move, you're aware of the light dancing within you and you feel another set of hands on your head. Within, you hear a loving voice saying, "Let the love for yourself emerge. We are here with you. Call on us." It doesn't serve to feel unworthy, to abandon yourself. Let the goddess of love within rise up in you now. You hear your own compassionate and loving voice saying, "I love you. I love you. I love you. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy." Then another goddess of love places her hands on your head, and you hear the words, "Let go." You no longer have to prove yourself by overcompensation, overdoing, or being seductive in any way to prove your worth or to get what you desire. You are enough. For a moment, your senses are flooded as you are again aware of the smell of flowers and identify the beautiful fragrance of the sacred oil of myrrh. You open your eyes a moment, taking in all the beauty and the smells in the temple, and then slowly close your eyes again. You take a deep, deep breath, allowing the centuries and centuries of the repressed divine feminine to energetically move into the penetrating golden glow of the spirals, allowing yourself to fully feel the grace and power of the primal sensual love within yourself. It flows out into your relationship with others. You then feel a soft touch on your arm, and as you open your eyes, another goddess of love has brought you some delectable, delicious food treats, specially made with sweet honey to delight your palate. This goddess asks your permission to anoint you with the sacred oil of myrrh. Knowing that this oil is of kings and queens and what lovers wear, she reminds you this oil is celebrating your love for yourself. Your senses of taste, smell, and touch and hearing are activated, and the music in the background becomes a bit louder. You enjoy the feeling of being sensual and being pleasured. You welcome in the beauty of these moments. Your physical senses sing. They sing to the cells as you connect deeply to the many aspects of love. You hear the goddess of love tell you she's going to touch your feet and rub the myrrh into your feet. And you hear the words, "Your feet were meant to walk the path of your heart with love, confidence, and passion for life as you connect to Mother Earth." She anoints your legs with the oil and says your legs connect you to your contribution and service given with love to the world. She touches your womb and hips lightly with the oil and says your hips help you birth what is in your heart. With that, you feel the oil envelop your lower back, and you're aware of a movement of energy up your spine, opening the area below your navel with a surge of energy, bringing a true sense of confidence. She touches your heart, and you hear the words, "Your heart connects your beautiful diamond radiance with others." As she touches your third eye, you see a flash of light, revealing your pure, sensual, loving, and inviting radiance. As she anoints your head at the crown, there is a brilliant flash of light, taking you deep into your sacred feminine self as you connect to the source of all creation and its magnificence. To anchor this in your body, the goddess asks you to open your eyes, and she places the bottle of sacred myrrh in your hand and asks you to complete this ritual by lovingly rubbing the oil on the rest of your body. The sense of touch on your skin opens the floodgates to feelings of joy, sensuality, deep passion, and an openness for what wants to birth within you. As you finish, the goddess hands you a beautiful gold gilded mirror. At first, all you see in the mirror is your diamond radiant self. As you look more closely, you see your body glowing with softness, yet there's a compelling presence. As you see your body more clearly, there are subtle changes, yet you recognize your body and feel a deep love and gratitude for what your body has done for you. As the light of your body cascades over yourself, you feel emotions in small bursts and the permission to be who you are. You accept now you're beautifully alluring for what you desire to nurture and uplift you. You feel a peace yet power within yourself, a sense of profound trust around the relationship with yourself. That energy spirals out to all your relationships in waves. Questions of service fade into the past as you sense that your heart will now guide you with the connecting energy of love through you. The goddess of love again touches your arm and asks you to hold out your hands as she has prepared a final gift for you. This gift has been blessed and energized, waiting for the perfect time to be presented. She tells you you have provided much for others with love, and now you are being showered with love. This is a special gift of love for you. This gift is a symbol of trust to carry with you. As you hold out your hands to receive the gift, there is a golden glow. She places your unique gift of trust in your hands. You look and see the glow fade and see the gift. Goddess says, take this gift with you. You hear yourself say thank you in gratitude and praise. And you hear these words inside. Goddess of love, I call on you as love is a universal experience, the one true energy that connects all of humanity. It is the force that truly moves me to live, to indulge in luscious adventures and create beloved connections, no matter our race, age, or circumstances. Goddess of love, I call on you to whisper to me to nurture myself physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. By tapping into the nourishing and sensual energy of the divine feminine through the goddess of love, I reconnect and awaken my heart to bliss and creativity. All I need is to pause for a brief moment and breathe into sacred pleasure. Whether I identify as the nurturing mother, the divine playmate, the devoted wife or universal guardian, or any other goddess archetype, I remember that love is the unconditional power that nourishes and feeds my soul and allows me to experience joy and intimacy with myself and others. With that, you bow to yourself within. You know this temple is always here for you. With that prayer ringing in your head, you find yourself feeling your physical body back in present time, allowing yourself to come back with this prayer echoing in the cells of your body, opening your heart with the gift of trust within your hands. Feeling yourself now, wherever you are, sitting or laying, back into your physical body, back with the group, with the goddess of love within. I suspect everyone's still in the temple.
I've just come out of that. That was really, really beautiful, Bunny.
Thank
What a
you.
wonderful experience. Thank you. Thank you for that gift. It was just so that gift that was put in our hands. I actually had a golden heart, quite literally,
Mm.
a metallic
Mm.
golden heart that was put in my hands. It was just really beautiful. Loved it.
It was very loving when it came through, so I was very excited to
Mm,
share with everyone today.
really powerful.
Mm. Rita says that was amazing. Thank you for the gift of trust. Yes, I think that is underscored with the goddess of love.
Absolutely. Was aware of all of the hands on the head and just
Mm.
such a beautiful honoring process. And I know I've said it before, Bunny, but it's just so wonderful to sort of rest into the space with the rest of the group and really engage in the process in a very deep and visceral way, physically and emotionally. Yeah, I was very emotional at one stage as well. I think it was when you were talking about the voice within the I love you. Um, that it did feel very emotional. Like, yes, this is me.
Well, it was interesting that you had that story because I knew you had said that, but I had heard that before, so you confirmed it.
Hmm.
That was an
Yeah,
important
very interesting.
piece.
Yeah,
Rachel said, I was given a jar with a lid. It was a golden color with ornate descriptions on it. Some of the patterns were diamond shapes. I love that. I saw the decorations around the temple and above my head when I was laying down. Oh, awesome, Rachel. You have such a
stunning,
beautiful eye for seeing. It's so fun to listen to your descriptions.
beautiful, and very clear. Are you all back and in your bodies now? Well, we should
Yes.
be. Yeah, yeah, very, very connected with our body after that. Hey, just stunning. So, as always, yeah, we're gonna observe and note how this goddess shows up for us this week.
Yeah.
All the many ways, where we may be challenged to realize those gifts we've just been given so beautifully through Bunny.
Well,
I just
as
love
we,
that, Bunny. I just keep saying it was just such a wonderful process.
oh, well, the whole, and I know we're over time, but I so love how we collaborate putting this together and just how it works. And I too appreciate when you do the journey being able to really sink into it.
Yeah. Okay, so Rachel's typing again. I will definitely listen to that again. Yeah. So yeah, give me an opportunity. I've got a couple of things going on tomorrow, but I should have the initial recording out, and I'll get the extracts done at least within the next 24 hours. So you'll be able to listen to that again. I too want to be able to listen to that again. So a real gift.
Jan. Oh, yes, I want to hear it again as well. Yes, I think it's one that, yeah. Well, I have found all of them are quite powerful, and it's what we need in the perfect moment.
Yes. Yeah, it's perfect for now. So, yeah, I do realize that we are over time. Some of you
Yes.
also have schedules to keep to for the day. So, I hope that this session has actually set you up for the rest of the afternoon, wherever you are, that you will enjoy the
Yes.
rest of the evening if you're in Europe. And just thank you so much for bearing with us and
Yes.
for sharing your time, choosing to invest your precious time and space
Mm.
and to share it with us. It just is wonderful to share with you all. Thank you. Thank you
Mm. Oh,
all.
look at
Lovely
Rachel.
messages
Yes.
there. Yeah, loved it. Loved it. Oh, what an appropriate expression.
I
Beautiful.
know. Rachel's so cute. Thank you so much, all of you. I'm so glad you came in, Rita.
Lovely. Oh, that's a beautiful comment. Thank you, Rita. So worth my time today. So yeah, thank you for being here and look forward to sharing with you on Facebook.
Yes.
Comes up, yeah. Whatever comes up, whatever awarenesses you want to share with the rest of the group, please do so in the Facebook page. I'm going to close the recording with a final thank you. Bunny, do you want to do a final thank you?
Yes. Thank you so much, Julie, and thank you, group. This is it. I feel so honored and blessed to be with everyone.
Yeah, beautiful. Have a
Um,
great week, everyone. Until next time.
yes.